Yeah, once again, welcome back, my people, my beautiful and handsome viewers. This is Timo Starboy Reality Talk TV. Yeah, so you are on my program now. So a while ago, we just we do give away, So that was our promise on our viewers and fans all over the world. So next one is gonna be next Friday. So please tune in and share the program, okay? So this one is another one. It's about this man called Festus Kiyamo. I don't know who give this man liver where they threaten about DSS to go carry Peter Obi. You know what? Hey, whoa. Thief they carry police to go arrest somebody. Thief, the armed robber, thief. Then they carry police to go carry the owner. What kind of a justice is this? What kind of a drama is this? So make now let us watch now. Let us listen to what they said. Let's watch, because this one is kind of a drama, a typical drama in a zoology country called Nigeria. You see a lot of any kind of law, any kind of talks, useless talk, stupid talk, loose talk, from all this our lawyer, and they call themselves san. Who gave them the san in the first place? How they take qualify? How they take qualify? That is the question. Because these people, I don't know who gave them the san, who gave them the top lawyer. Abi they don't know the meaning of san. They don't know the meaning of san before they give all these people. They are just talking rubbish. After you stole somebody mandate and you want to arrest the person you stole from him, you still want to carry the police, the DSS to go carry and to go and arrest the guy. You carry Olopa, and you are the criminal. This one, it doesn't occur to you that you should be shamed. You should hide your face. Anyway, let's listen. Let's listen for to this news.
You'd expect that the drama had only just begun.
Just dramas.
The announcement of the winner of the presidential election on 25th of February.
A bunch of
We've seen a number of things begin to.
Okay.
Labor and productivity, Mr. Festus Kiyamo, SAN, and of course his
Kiyamo.
Following interview, TV interview, based on his petition
it's a
is
son
based
of
according
advocate.
to what he wrote to the
Who gave it
DSS
to him?
on the
Nobody
statements
knows.
made by the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, and of course he also joined the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, in this complaint or petition to the DSS. I'd like to read the opening statement of the petition to the DSS made by Mr. Festus Kiyamo. First of all, I must say that he said he's written this petition in his personal capacity as an individual, as a concerned citizen of Nigeria. That's how he ended the petition. But he opens it by saying that I write to the full realization that
Is that not a ridiculous thing to do? You see, this guy is a jobless. How could you file a petition to a winner, to somebody who is shouting that they stole his mandate, they stole his winning, his winning certificate, and you a robber, a robbery in the gunpoint, a robbery in the daylight. You are carrying police to arrest to arrest the guy. What kind of a necessity is this? Who does that? Where did that happen? Where did you get that one? Where did you get that kind of a story from? Say somebody who is a claimer, and you are carrying police to go and arrest somebody. They stole his property. They stole his mandate. Sorry, not his property. His mandate, his ticket to sit at the presidential seat, and you are harassing the person, you are threatening the person. You must be a foolish man, this Festus Kiyamo. You are a foolish man to be thinking so.
in a post-election period such as this, there is a need to soothe frayed nerves, lower the temperature, and begin the healing process. Let me end here for a few seconds. Now, one of the things we've heard, especially from the APC at this time, is the healing process. This talk about healing, or let's now begin to work together and come together. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out is
after
because
you have murdered people,
it speaks to what the actions of Mr. Festus Kiyamo. And what a number of people have said is that the APC asked the Labour Party and other aggrieved parties, the PDP inclusive, to go to court if they didn't agree with the election outcome. Now, this message of healing, hence him saying that the statements made by Yusuf Dati Ahmed is incendiary, therefore we should be looking towards unity. But people have asked as well that, can healing occur without justice? Is it mutually exclusive to heal and also to seek justice? I know that's not what he was talking about. He was talking about the statement exactly, but it was important because he started his statement that way. Because in his way, he was making a case for why he believes the DSS should investigate, as it could incite people, young and old in Nigeria, to violence, if possible. Now, I'll give a little example and then I'll pass it on because I'm sure that Dr. and Rufai would also speak to this. But when we talk about justice and healing, I'll give an example of a parent, two children. One has stolen a pot, the other's maybe possession, and then says, don't report to, just let's keep it quiet for the peace of this family, just let's move on. Yes, the peace of the family is very important, but it is also important that to enable or to teach the other person a lesson, it's important so that it doesn't occur again, that the other person is able to get some form of justice. Exactly. Very important. In the same breath, Mr. Festus Kiyamo, in the interview he did on another TV station, was doing almost exactly that which he was accusing Mr. Yusuf Dati Ahmed of doing, in terms of speaking out. Why is he saying that it was not the president-elect is not constitutionally recognized and so on? Because he also preempted the justice of the Supreme Court judges by making statements, not just at this interview, but in other forums, where he said that their case is baseless. The Supreme Court is going to throw the case away. So, just to mention that at this time, it is important that spokespeople like Mr. Festus Kiyamo and the spokespersons from the Labour Party are careful with the words that they say. Yes, it is important to seek justice, but we must remember that it's the people that they seek to serve that they could, ultimately do a disservice to.
A number of things. Number one, all politicians, all stakeholders, all parties to the general election in Nigeria realize that the elections are over. Matters have been taken to court. Nobody should instigate violence. Nobody should try to do anything that will sound or look like incitement, because that is not the way to go. And the various parties, the major parties, 4 political parties, and the APC, haven't gone to court on different sides of the spectrum with regard to those elections. They should know already that the petitions haven't been filed. The matter is already sub judice. And so they must refrain from making statements that will be prejudicial to the outcome of the process in court. That's very important. The second thing is the petition by Festus Kiyamo. It's titled Petition Against Mr. Obi and Dati Baba Ahmed for making incendiary comments and claims capable of causing an insurrection or rebellion against the government of Nigeria and the duly elected president-elect. Thursday, March 23, 2023. And of course, this is the received, a copy of the received petition. Well, the point to note here is that Festus Kiyamo is insisting that he has had to write this petition because of statements made by Mr. Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed. What we know is that Mr. Peter Obi, sometime last week, made it clear that he will not subscribe to an end INEC protest. He will not subscribe to an end democracy protest. He made those 2 points clear. And that the option that is available to him is to go to court, which he has done, because he has faith in the judiciary. So, to that extent, Mr. Peter Obi has made very clear his choice in the matter. And on this program, he made a distinction between Labour Party and the Obedient Movement, which he says is larger than Labour Party. And sometimes there may be elements in the Obedient Movement saying certain things that may not really be the position of the party. As for the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, well, Kiyamo is saying he appeared on television. And he said if Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is sworn in on May 29 as president of Nigeria, that may signal an end to democracy.
Yes.
I think that's what Festus Kiyamo is holding on to. Why would Tinubu being sworn in signal an end to democracy? He also took objection to Dati Ahmed raising the question about Section 134(2) of the Constitution, which deals with, FCT Abuja, whether or not for a person to be president of Nigeria must win 25% in Abuja. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu got 18.8% from the Federal Capital Territory. But that's one of the major matters before the court, and it is for the court to determine that. So this is why it is important that all parties concerned should just calm down and allow the judicial process to take its course. However, Kiyamo has received a response in equal measure from the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council and also from Dr. Yusuf Tanko and other spokespersons of the party, including Dino Unifade. And what they have told him clearly is that he's joking and that nobody should take his joke seriously. And that, Kiyamo is a known rabble rouser who is just trying to impress his masters. Well, the election is over, gentlemen. Can we tone down the rhetoric? And in any case, the DSS is not going to just act on the basis of a petition from a partisan party. This is not the first time Kiyamo will write a petition. But it came out of the last petition that he wrote to the DSS. Because the DSS as an institution will not want to be seen to be taking directives or dictates from, a partisan political figure, trying to do his own job. And the election is over. We recall that Festus Kiyamo is a Minister of State for Labour. That ministry, that assignment is still pending. Now that the election is over and his petition time is, tribunal time, can Minister Kiyamo please pay more attention to his primary assignment? And all persons who may be tempted to incite the public against the Nigerian state should refrain from doing so. That is very important.
I think it's Lagbaja, the famous African Nigerian musician. I think he had a song that says Kulu, 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 Tempa.
Kulu Tempa. Benny.
That's what I'll say to all the political parties. At first, there's something that binds all of us in common, which is
my guy.
We are all Nigerians in the first place.
Speak on them.
The reason why we are having this argument back and forth is because we share something in common. We're all Nigerians, and that supersedes anything and any other thing where we are from in the country. It's immaterial to the fact that we're all Nigerians. We will have varying ideas, but we will talk about our varied ideas with objectivity and the truth. As simple as that.
Yeah.
So we want everybody to cool things down, because after all is said and done, after the case goes to court and the court makes a ruling, we'll still have to come together in this country.
I don't think so.
But that will be after justice has been done as regards the electoral process.
Because if the justice is
which will be done in the courts.
It's not done well, everybody will scatter.
That wrote a petition to DSS.
Everywhere we scatter. That one for sure.
Kiyamo pretty much went out there
to
school the television presenter, and I think it's not fair the way politicians treat journalists. You talk down at them, it's not fair. You pretty much were there schooling the presenter, and the next thing you went ahead to do all the things you complained against. Mr. Kiyamo is his son, senior visit of Nigeria.
Who give him son?
On this section 25, Dr. Abati, do you know, despite the fact that case is in court, he gave an illegal opinion.
Who give this man son?
Section 25, right there on TV.
We need to track everything. It's a dubious one. He doesn't deserve it.
Illegal opinion on that, no, not section 25, this 25% in Abuja thing.
He doesn't deserve son. Kiyamo, first of all, are you hearing me? If you are hearing me, you are not deserving that son of a post. because you are a disgrace to your country. You tell lies too much. You are not a straight person. You know, it is only your mouth, you know, your mouth and your pocket. And what they are giving you at the back, they are promising you. What they are promising you is what you are fighting on. So you are a disgrace. I said it, you are a disgrace. You are not deserving that sign of an advocate. You are not.
Section 134. He gave a legal opinion. They are empirical fact. Fact check me. When he was asked on the issue, he gave a legal opinion, knowing fully well that the case is sub judice, like lawyers say, and it's already in court.
Yeah.
And as a senior advocate of Nigeria, gave a legal opinion of a case that is in court on television.
See.
So who is going to charge him for that? Who is going to charge him for that? Then he says about the things that Baba Ahmed did say.
The man is an idiot.
You know, the truth has to be said.
Typical one.
Any decision that is taken by the court, democracy will not fade off in Nigeria. We will go through our path.
Not be today.
Better. But what we call on the judiciary to do is to ensure justice reigns. That's just all. And one too many times, those that are going to court are saying they want to challenge the process. And they have extensive things there in their petition to challenge.
Yeah.
But in also being objective, and please, for the love of mercy, in also being objective, let us also balance things out. Apart from what I have pointed out, what Dati Baba made and said, I say it will not be a reign at the end of democracy in Nigeria, even if the court rules in favor of anybody. But in also being objective, Mr. Festus Kiyamo forgets the tweets of his very good friend and brother Wayo and Mr. FFK that are causing ethnic tension and ethnic beating in the country. He also forgot to see MC Oluomo's message that it was a prediction and a threat that came to pass in Lagos. So that's where the hypocrisy is when we are talking about things on the national sphere. I know politicians will say the things they want to say, they want to make arguments and everything. But we need to cool it down, and we also need to be just as statesmen.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, after all is said and done, we will have a country to build and we'll come together.
Anyway, if you have it, if you have a country to build, it is only the tribunal will judge well and the High Court. That's all I can say about that. Please, let me play another video for you. This is Mr. Dele Rotimi. His interview with, I think, Sahara TV. Let's hear from them.
Across the states of the migration. Let's hear what your perspective is on this.
No, I don't think what you really is not as simple as you just made it sound. You know, I have been a witness to a social experiment.
He's a man of genius.
The past 30,
this is what we call
in Nigeria.
A good lawyer.
And I think
they're supposed to give him sound.
Of that social experiment
advocate,
today.
Lawyer.
And I would explain. You said you saw the unleashment of violence against the people.
Not this rogue. This Kiyamo.
What happened
Festus Kiyamo
was the culmination of the effect of weaponized ignorance and weaponized poverty against the people by the state. The full effect.
You can see the real lawyer.
When it reaches its
intellectual lawyer, intelligent lawyer.
I went to vote.
They will speak the truth. They will speak everything. Not this idiot Kiyamo talking rubbish because of money.
Plan in Lagos State is to use the whole room
very corruptive
as a cover
lawyer,
and to then use INEC, who would have moved ballot polling units around and would also work eagerly with the hegemony in Lagos State, which is the same that is attempting to capture the whole of the country. And just exactly like that, it happened. So I went into what has happened is that in the Lekki axis, the indigenous communities who have had their land stolen by Tinubu and his cronies and have been pauperized over the years, have found themselves in the unfortunate situation where in the midst of
Cronies.
the affluence that had been created over the years, the indigenous communities have been narrowed into ever smaller portion of what was once their wide ancestral holding. They have, over the years, been weaponized with poverty, and nobody has bothered to help liberate minds with education. The state has completely ignored to educate minds or to even train people in gainful skills. So it has encouraged the emergence of a class that is dependent on collection of rents or money led, that is dependent on the mercies of the state and the stipends from those that have rendered them impecunious. Those are the people who have been activated by the hatred of Omoibo Vegbeko. They have been activated by the lies of these are the people responsible for why you are where you are. So you find increasingly that instead of talking about them unleashing violence, what we should be talking about really is that they've managed to weaponize the victims against each other. Because I didn't see MC Oluomo where I voted today. I saw people that I grew up with in this neighborhood. I've lived here for close on since, I first came to the Greater Lekki metropolis in 1986, and I moved here and I started living where I'm living now since 2002. These are not strangers to me. So it wasn't like somebody imported thugs. No. These are the people that I grew up with who have been weaponized to believe that people who are fellow victims are actually the reason why they have been rendered impecunious. When this election is over, whatever the outcome, we would all live in this space together. When this election is over, we will all suffer the brunt of bad governance or enjoy the fruits of good governance together. For the next 4 years, this hatred will disappear until they need to renew the franchise of hatred, franchise of slavery. So for me, there was no election today. A social experiment was completed in Lagos State today. It was a situation where what should be democracy was centered around ensuring that those who you believe will not be for you do not get to vote. To counter this, those determined to vote would have to arm themselves and be ready to kill or be killed. That's the only way to go. So, what is 2027 telling all of us if there will be 2027? I think I'm more than done now.
The warning signs have been there. And one of the recurring incidents of today is the fact that the security forces have kept a mute indifference and co-complicity as far as all these activities were concerned. Isn't that worrisome?
T. Gomez, I was speaking with a friend earlier today. We were chatting, and I said to the person that we knew they would do what they have done today. It would have made no difference to what we have done.
I've said it in my show many times.
When you drag a rag in front of the puppy, that we having the puppy chase after the rag, you don't intend for the puppy to hit the rag, or you are teaching the puppy how to hunt. The Nigerian people have seen the end of any argument that would tend to suggest that not engaging with the process is the reason why we are where we are. We have engaged with the process. We have done everything that anybody could have asked of us. When we now announce our lack of confidence in the system, it becomes impossible for anyone to creditably or credibly argue against our position. So we knew this was going to happen. I am on record as saying this was exactly what will happen today. The minute I got to my polling booth, I knew there was going to be trouble. But because these are people, like I said, I grew up with them. So they were not about to come. Anyway, let's leave that story. The important thing is, this was always going to happen. We knew. Now they have done what they have done. The question that we should be asking ourselves now, what are we going to do. It's no longer about, there's no point having this autopsy. What has been done is audible to the deaf and clear to the blind. They have not been particularly circumspect about doing what they have done. They've been brutal, they've been brazen, they've cared nothing for what anybody or the law has to say. So when you talk about complicity of security agencies, I ask you, what agencies? Is it the one headed by MC Mushroom Peking or the one headed by who? What agency? Is it the police? We called the soldiers where I was. I believe they came maybe like an hour after. Laughable. So please, at the end of the day, this is not about a single harm. The police, the so-called thugs who are not thugs, the army, the ruiners, they work in concert. It's like when you go to an orchestra, find the kettle player, you've got the trumpeter, you still see the ones who will come with their bow ties and ties, agbada and cap. They will be speaking dignified English. There will even be pastors and imams who will speak on their behalf. By the time this is over, they will be telling you why you should let it all go. It's the will of God. Allah wills it so. You soon start hearing all of those. Oh, it's not only Oro that will be complicit by the time this is over. Just wait and carry your popcorn.
The Labour Party candidate in Lagos, Badimo Roads Bible, had accused the APC of causing voter suppression, and he said that he won't congratulate someone that got his mandate from intimidation and suppression. Instead, if it happens, he will go to God. What's next for the Labour Party in this regard?
Well, I can't speak for the Labour Party, and I never have spoken for the Labour Party. I spoke for the Obi presidential campaign team. It is the prerogative of a political party or the candidate who is aggrieved to take whatever measures is due to it. And if I were the candidate, I'll probably be saying exactly what he's saying. And I imagine that everybody who is not completely shorn of balance and objectivity would align themselves with what he has said. And what is even more, the popular thing in Nigeria after they have stolen anything that they might have stolen is to kukuma tell you, go to court. So Mr. Rosevival is completely within his right to take the opportunity that the law says are available to him. The confidence or otherwise of the individual in the court system is another ball game entirely. So he is right to say that by around 10:30 this morning, my own polling booth where I voted, I was done voting by around 10, but by 10:30 they have scattered the place. So, and they have my entire neighborhood, which had been gerrymandered into the Ajiro village by INEC. Even those who voted in different locations in time past were centralized into the village. They had their vote polling unit brought inside the village. Everybody couldn't vote now. My own polling unit, over 1,000 people. They scattered everything. So it is within the right of any. It will be silly not to challenge this, however one cares to. So that somebody is even advocating going to court, they should be clapping for him, since they are the ones waiting for him in the court anyway. So, however, in speaking to the general world, we had been speaking specifically to our own experiences. I spoke specifically only to my experience as somebody resident in Lagos, and I've been careful to speak only to what I witnessed or what I have seen on video. So when I speak to the extent of what happened in Lagos, what has happened as of today, I am speaking knowing as a fact that across the length and breadth of Lagos, across the length and breadth, and I repeat that, from Ikorodu to Ekpe to Badagry, across the length and breadth of Lagos, voters were seriously intimidated, in some cases physically attacked, and I'm even seeing reports already of a person who has been killed today. So, as far as Lagos is concerned, I can speak to what has happened here. I do not presume to talk about what has happened in the north. The only time I have spoken about the north in my dialogue and conversation since the election was when I spoke to the burning of the market, the Monday market in Maiduguri, which was done on the day of the election itself and which kept burning until Monday before the fire brigade would go there. And no Nigerian journal or daily or TV would report it, and yet we have video that this happened. We have eyewitness account that this happened. So I have not spoken to anything that I did not see. And we can have that other discussion at your convenience.
My next question has to do about the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
President.
Questions have been asked about.
Sorry, excuse me. You said what? President-elect.
Select.
No, I just want to be sure that President-elect. Okay.
INEC has recognized him as the president-elect. Questions have been raised as to his chances of delivering quality leadership, judging by the flawed process that brought him to power. What's your take on this?
I will not join you. I will not join you in normalizing a crime or in deodorizing a skunk. As far as I am concerned, no president has emerged in Nigeria.
Exactly.
INEC in criminal complicity with the APC and its
That's
presidential
for sure. That's for sure.
have announced Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the selected candidate. If and when they manage to get the courts to deodorize that skunk, I would have no choice but to, of course, accept the putrefaction of my country. But I am not going to help anybody to legitimize what I know to be a fraud. I will not offer any legitimacy to what I know to be a series of crimes, both against the Nigerian state and against its people. So I am not having that conversation with you. Nothing good can come out of evil.
Never.
Those who believe that something good can come out of this can keep fooling themselves and normalize that conversation. I refuse to join in normalizing it. Nothing good can come out of that evil. If you have destroyed the process by which legitimate elections might be held, you have already sounded the death knell of democracy.
Exactly.
What happened today, if it will happen in Lagos, where me and you are living, where we see, where everybody are carrying cameras, they are international observers. If what is happening today in Lagos can be happening in Lagos as brazenly as it is happening, and then you are telling me that something good can be battered from that process, it is impossible. No good can come out of evil.
Never.
The first of the many problems we have is our refusal to call it as it is. This is evil. No good can come out of it. We should stop fooling ourselves. There are fundamental destructions that have been wrought over the last 3 weeks. Wounds that were being healed have been torn open. New wounds have been opened afresh. Systems have been compromised. Public trust in processes have been destroyed. I'm not speaking in hyperbolic terms. I'm telling you what has happened. I live here. Illusions have been stripped away. What is clear is that we cannot, innocence is lost. We are not where we were. We're either going to agree to be rendered complicit in this evil, or we are going to be clear about our fundamental disagreement about where we are. We have a lot of conversations that we must have with ourselves. But the first of the conversation that we must have is the one that defines our status. Who is in power should not matter if we are actually citizens. And we can never be citizens if there are no rules, if there are no laws that are upheld in our country. Brother Kayode spoke to the consequences for bad behavior. How can there be consequences for bad behavior when the law does not rule? You are seeing cases where thugs, we call them thugs, but they are part and parcel of the state. We must come to the knowledge of this and admit it to ourselves. The chief thug in Lagos State has just been promoted to the chief thug in Nigeria. That is the man who stood in plain view on video telling everybody they have no right to come and vote. The DSS pretended to carry him yesterday. His client is the one that you're asking me to normalize his stolen mandate. You think his client is going to get into power and DSS will not start providing gas for him? We are not in a good place. We should admit where we are to ourselves.
That's it.
Enough of
That's
this
it.
sugarcoating and normalization of madness.
That's a real talk right there.
Are we saying that Nigerians are now in a doldrum then? Do you trust the judiciary to delegitimize this process?
What I'm saying does not matter. What you are saying, what we are all saying, is what counts. Yes. If what I am saying is not predicated on truth, it will not have any resonance in anybody's spirit. If it has no basis in foundational truth, it will have no resonance. But the reality is that what we are saying, what we are living, in what other country of the world do you buy your own currency with money? You buy your own currency. That's what we are normalizing.
Ridiculous.
We've become. Please, I'm not having that conversation. We have come to the point where we need to decide who we are. We obviously come from different ends of the spectrum in responding to the challenge of Nigeria. I'm not sure if I'm still with you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. So we obviously come from different ends of the spectrum when it comes to the way we view Nigeria and its many issues. But I am firm in my conviction that we can't move on from this.
Exactly.
We have fundamental questions that we must address before we presume to move on. The Supreme Court of Nigeria is not immune from the problems of Nigeria, and unfortunately, I wish it could be said that I am speaking flippantly, but I am not. I am speaking knowing that I am happy to stand before any judicial panel anywhere to repeat what I have said, that the Supreme Court is rotten. It is complicit in what is going on in our country. And the evidence
part of the parcel of this criminal
are in his own record. It's not deliberate in me speaking flippantly. So when somebody tells me that I should accept the ruling of the Supreme Court or his judgment over and above the evidences of my own eyes, it must be that the Supreme Court, because one of the things that people don't understand about justice is that not only must justice be done, it must be seen to have been manifestly done. When you have a situation where thieves are emboldened to the point where they are telling people go to court, it tells you that they know that the person waiting in court will do their own bidding. So it's not sufficient that we should normalize this.
Their family is waiting at the court.
Simply because a court that is as complicit in the madness as those who perpetrated it, as deodorized it. That court must show clearly, demonstrably, that it has done justice. Not a Lawa and Machina thing, not an Akpabio thing, not another Imo State thing. It has to be manifest justice.
That
is it. It is the one that has placed that burden on itself because it does not have a record of doing the right thing. So,
and that is what we're gonna monitor in this time. In this election, we're gonna monitor it. All of us, all over the world, it's gonna be media taking place. So thank you for that. So let me play you this guy who called himself senior advocate. I don't know who give it to him. That is Festus Kiyamo. Let's hear for the matter of the stupid man.
Congress APC, Presidential Campaign Council, and Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
Senior Advocate of my
petition the DSS.
Senior Advocate, my house. You are not a real senior advocate. You are dumb. You are dummy.
Asking the security outfit to arrest Mr. Peter Obi, a candidate of the Labour Party in the just concluded presidential election, and his running mate, Mr. Dati Baba Ahmed. The senior lawyer has also asked the DSS to arrest and prosecute Obi and his running mate over alleged incitement and treasonable felony in a petition addressed to the DG of the DSS, which was dated on 23rd March. The minister opined that in a post-election period such as this, there is a need to soothe frayed nerves, lower the temperature, and begin the healing process. I'm being joined by Mr. Festus Kiyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of State for
Senior Advocate.
Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight. Thank you very much. And then first of all, Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim brothers and sisters.
This one, Kajo, leave that one. You are not a Muslim.
Who prompted your in specific?
No Kajo here.
There must be something that annoyed or angered you because you said you are doing this in your own personal capacity. You have written to the DSS, or the DSS has not granted your prayers. But what was it that moved you to that point? Well, let me start by saying that in this post-election period, campaigns are over. So normally we are torn between the extremes of, going full conciliatory in our tone, or being as firm as possible, in asserting our mandate and our rights, to govern this country as given to us by majority of the voters. Now, we have been instructed by the president-elect, and you saw it even in his open letter, that look, we should begin the healing process. So this combative tone of now we adopted during campaigns, we ought to jettison all of that now and then begin to stretch our hands out to the opposition. Remember, the moment the results were announced, I was the first as the spokesperson of the campaign council to say, look, don't taunt them. They are patriots, they are brothers, they mean well for this country. It's just that, perhaps the templates they sold to Nigerians were less attractive than, was less attractive than ours, and now more Nigerians accepted us. But they are patriots. And that's the kind of language we want to see now. But then it appears too, and this is the point I want to make, that when you now have a mandate to defend, you have a right given, donated to you by Nigerians, and you become too condescending. You genuflect too much, and you beg too much. It also conveys the feeling, or the impression that you have stolen something and you are begging to be accepted. So that is also the danger of, the other extreme of becoming too conciliatory and all of that. So there must be a point at which you draw the line to say, look, I have appealed to you enough. For the sake of our country, let us come together. And I think that is the line that Peter Obi and Dati Ahmed, they have crossed. There is a constitutional process to address grievances. A process has taken place. An election has happened in accordance with the law. Results have been declared by the body constitutionally imbued with the right to declare that result, which is INEC. Not any other body, INEC. INEC has declared the president-elect. The constitution also envisages
because it's a sham.
That certain persons will be dissatisfied with that declaration.
It's a sham.
So we are not in a position or situation of constitutional crisis like Dati Ahmed tried to paint. This situation was or has been envisaged by the constitution that certain persons will be dissatisfied. And if you are dissatisfied, there are laid down procedures to address those grievances so that democracy will function, those institutions will function, and democracy will function and will survive. Now, what is going on is that Dati Ahmed comes here, and it has been a series of interviews by himself and Peter Obi. Yesterday was the final nail on the coffin. It was the final straw that broke the camel's back. That somebody who wanted to become vice president of this country, of that level, will come here, sit before the world, and tell the world that he does not recognize a president-elect that has been declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission, and that the president-elect must not be sworn in.
Even I does not recognize. Me too. I don't recognize a fourth resort. I don't recognize a thief somebody that is stealing another person. Me, I don't recognize that. I don't recognize a president that is a fraudulent, a rigging. We don't recognize that. Not only Obi or Dati Baba. So that is what we want to hear. Continue, Mr. Foolish Man.
We recognize, the process that they have, started, in court. He does not trust that process, I mean. And that's the person who wanted to become vice president of this country. How? And then he arrogates to himself the right or the power to interpret the Constitution, interpret, Section 134 of the Constitution to suit his own whims and caprices.
Not
and
his
then
own. It's everybody.
That what the INEC did was totally unconstitutional, and that what will come in on May 29 will be an unconstitutional government. It is the delusion of grandeur. It's complete delusion of grandeur for anybody to say now that there is no president-elect. It's complete delusion. So that is the specifics of your anger.
There's no select. There is a select president.
That amounts to subverting the very process that they have started in the tribunal. They are subverting that process by coming out of that process to then call for insurrection in a subliminal manner.
Hear from my mouth. There is a select president, not elect. We condemn that. We condemn that fraud president and rogue thieves.
For protest and insurrection to truncate that process. I want to say this clearly, that the process we have established since 1999 is that elections take place. People are sworn into office, but those who have grievances are given the right to continue their grievances, air their grievances in court. And some months into their tenures, if the judgments come in, they are removed from office.
No,
so there's nothing so serious.
We cannot accept like that, because this man is a head knuckle. He can refuse, say he want to turn it to war, and we don't want any sworn in. We don't want any sworn in. So let them give to maybe some people, or maybe maybe fresh people to hold that seat for them to conclude the judgment. So we don't need the rogue, the stiff man as our president. So continue, foolish man.
As he came to raise yesterday about swearing in somebody who has been given a certificate of return, himself, Babat Dati Ahmed himself, was removed from office twice. He stole people's mandates.
We need an interim president. Interim president. Not this Olule Baba. Because Baba is not well. Baba is not well. He has traveled now. He has gone to, I don't know whether na Paris or London, to treat himself. We don't need that kind of a leader. We don't need that kind of a president. So hear me. Continue.
I'm not saying anything great. It is judicial pronouncement that you stole a mandate. He was sworn in as a senator, was he not? He accused your party. No, but he was sworn in. And I'm asking. Let me finish this segment. He was sworn in as a senator. But the person who was challenging his victory continued his case in court. Another CPC under the same Buhari that is abusing now. He rode under his wings, purportedly won a Senate seat in Kaduna, was sworn into office. Nobody said he shouldn't be sworn in at that time. But he was carrying a stolen mandate. And at the end of the day, there was judicial pronouncement, and Baba Data was removed from office. Why is he opposed to that same procedure that he benefited from? In our own case, it's not an admission that our election was flawed, was totally flawed to the extent that it substantially affected the.
We are having trouble. Sorry, we are having trouble. Let me check my technique. We have a trouble. Sorry. There is a trouble. Technical failure here. Sorry guys. What am I gonna do now? So okay. The network is not working. Let me check. Why is it not working? The network is bad. The network is bad. Let me try to reload it back.
Result of the election. No,
okay.
I'm not admitting that. I'm not saying that this is a procedure we have since established in 19.
I'm sorry, our system is just having problem. We have a bad network due to the bad weather. So sorry, let's continue.
Tonight. So why is you saying that the election was flawed? What? You think that the election was flawed? No. I'm saying that it was not flawed to the extent. But it was flawed. No, there were infractions in areas in the southeast. But the allegations are that in the southeast, in the southeast there were flaws. That in the southeast there was a flaw. That the victory of your party is illegitimate because they believe that there were a lot of voter suppression and in fact it's a stolen mandate. Those are the words of the opposition. Who has the right to make that determination? You were asking him yesterday. Institutions must function. How can someone who is a participant in the process now arrogates on himself the right to be the judge and the jury and the accuser, and you are a participant in the process? In fact, yesterday I heard one of the strangest sentences I've heard as a lawyer. You know that sentence he came here to say, and I'm not surprised because he's not a lawyer, but he runs an institution. He said, this section of the constitution comes interpreted. You heard that yesterday. That, no, we don't need to bother. This section constitution comes interpreted. I have never heard that in my life. What I have heard from my life as a law student is that the right to interpret provisions of the constitution lies in the judiciary, and that's why you have a tripod. And I like you to get your own interpretation. But just before we get further into that controversial section 134, because on this program I've had to speak with a former NBA president, Mr. Ibakoda, who 2 or 3 months ago raised this matter and said it's going to be a problem and it's likely to cause a lot of chaos in our election because, according to him, it's not clearly stated whether or not FCT has the constitution captured it. But let me ask you, what he said, part of what he said, and part of what the opposition has said is that when you tell people to go to court, it then means something, that you steal something from them, and you are asking them to go through a process in which you are predetermined or you have your way around that process. That is one of the interpretations of go to court coming from your camp. Just hang on a minute. If I don't say go to court, what will I say? It's a rhetorical question. I'm asking you. If I don't say go to court, what would I say as a winner? But does it mean would I say come, let's fight? Does it mean that you predetermine the process? No, predetermined. I'm only asking you a rhetorical question that answers your question. If I don't say go to court, what it means, if I don't actually use that word, that sentence, is that avail yourself of the procedure of the machinery for addressing your grievance as provided for by law. This is what it means. I'm only saying it in specific terms, go to court. If I don't say go to court, the next thing I will say is that, come, let's fight. So why are they using such phrases or such sentences in a derogatory manner? It is what is provided for by law. And people have actually retrieved their mandates by going to court. It is only when it does not favor you, and that is what the Labour Party is doing, and that is why I had to petition them to the DSS. There's a build-up to something that they are doing. So there's a build-up. The build-up they are doing is to rile the people up, pump them up, and then turn them against the judiciary that if your judgment does not go in a particular way, and that is why he has come here yesterday.
People already know.
The constitution comes
you already know what is going on.
What does that mean? He's telling the judiciary that this
not telling anybody.
I have interpreted it. The people of Nigeria have interpreted it, and if you say anything different, they will come after you. So I said, I need to make this point. I need to make this point. That is where they're going. And so they are setting up a scene for rebellion. And they are setting up a scene to blackmail the judiciary. And that is why if you go online now, I have allotted the DSS, that they have camped some boys in one popular hotel in Abuja. And I will give that information to the DSS, where they have told them every morning to be pumping out, online messages to rile up the citizens, cause fear, and all of that. And so, what they want to do is to say, once the judiciary now goes another way, then the judiciary must have sold out. So that's why they are threatening the judges, and they have gone up to that point. I want to make this point, Nigerians must know that the Labour Party online touts now are threatening judges, threatening their families, exposing them, go online and see what is happening. And so there is a situation where they want to create fear in this country. They try, that during the elections, they tried to threaten people to support them. They failed. During the advancement, they tried to threaten INEC. Everything about them is threats. To threaten INEC to support them, they failed. Now they want to move. It's enough. So we are ready. Let me tell you this.
Is it not your party that is threatening?
The majority of that who voted for Asiwaju. They are the silent majority now.
You never catch a thief.
They think they want to push this country towards MSAS, where it was citizens. MSAS was a situation where citizens were dissatisfied with a policy of government, an institution of government called MSAS. That was totally different. But they think they can rile up.
If you don't catch a thief in time, the thief will catch you.
MSAS. But this time they should realize that this is not activities. It's pure politics. And if you want to do that now, it will not be citizens against government, it will be citizens, voters against voters. People who voted for the ruling party. You imagine that the mandate of your candidate and for your party is popular. So I will ask you this question, a rhetorical question. No, I'm not supposed to answer. I'm supposed to be answering. No, it's a rhetorical question that I used to answer you. That Peter Obi, with the kind of message he preached, did he expect, in all honesty, a man who came to say the confessed, did he expect, in all honesty, to win in areas where that message did not, go down well with people? He was telling the churches, take back your country. Take back your country from where? Now look at the heat map of the votes. Look at the Nigerian map. Pick it up and look at the heat map of his votes. He succeeded in those areas where his messages sank in about Christians take back your country. He forwarded into the middle belt where Christians are predominant and ended there. He could not go further than that place. Look at the heat map. And so the heat map exactly reflected the kind of message so within the ambit of the law, within the ambit of the law, if someone is hurt by a process and he lost out in the process and he thinks that that loss was illegitimate, he was